Back when I was a kid, there was one cartoon that just dominated my screen. A show about a bunch of pocket-sized monsters that kids would use to battle other pocket-sized mons. A show that went on to have card games, video games, a boatload of merch, and is still going strong to this very day. That show, of course, was Digimon. And look, jokes aside, I'm not going to get into the whole Pokemon versus Digimon debate. We can save that for the comment section. I did love Pokemon. I hoarded cards until making the very stupid decision of trading them all in for Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I played Yellow on my friend's Game Boy, and I of course watched the show too. But Digimon just stayed with me, especially the game we are going to discuss today, Digimon World. Now, many people I'm sure who clicked onto this video today have very fond memories of this game, and truthfully, I have been very reluctant to revisit this one. It may have been one of my favourite games as a kid, but I've always found it difficult to recommend. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Sit back as I take you through this classic PS1 gem and ask the simple question, does this still hold up?
It's Digimon! Huh? He's saying something. Huh?
We are wasting no time here. We're a kid and our Digimon game has dragged us into their world. Simple as can be, and for the most part, that and this little chat with Digimon will be the majority of our story. Digimon tells us that we have been brought here to the digital world to save them, as some time ago something weird happened to the city. They don't quite know what, but Digimon suddenly started leaving. They started forgetting things, some even forgetting how to speak. They turned feral and now roam the lands. So with us being such a good tamer back home, we have been brought in to help train Digimon and find Digimon to bring them back to the city. Maybe even finding out what happened to this world along the way. Now, before I get more into this, it is important to establish something that leads into a very fundamental gameplay loop you'll be doing here. You see, before the manga, before the anime, before anything, Digimon was first created as pretty much a rival to the Tamagotchi. They were literally your digital monsters. You fed them, played with them, cleaned up after them, so when this game was being made, they didn't go off the anime. Oh no, that show was still a few months away from appearing after this game dropped. They went off the Mons designs and a Tamagotchi gameplay loop. The goal here was to make a Tamagotchi adventure game. And you know what? For the most part, I think they succeeded. So that takes us into our main loop, training and raising your Digimon. We start with one of two rookies, depending on the kind of answers that you gave in the opening. You can either get Agumon or Gabumon. Our Mons have very basic needs. They need to eat, sleep, and, well, this can all be done via items, actions we can take, or just simply visiting a bathroom. The main focus of our raising will be the training. Right next to the city is a gym. Each bit of kit equates to one area of our mon that we would like to get stronger. Strength, HP, MP, defense, that kind of thing. Really nice and simple stuff here, but with a lot of complexities that we will get into very soon. Right now though, we've done a little bit of training, so let's go exploring for a little bit. Right away when leaving the city, we will encounter an invisible battle with another Agumon. And here is where I think the game will start to split the player base. You see, you never actually fight in this game. You call out simple commands in hopes that your Digimon will listen. But most of the time, you can just kind of leave them be and let them do all the work, whilst you'll be on item duty to heal them and restore their MP. I can see that bothering a lot of players. It can feel like your agency is taking away from you. But on the other hand, that is exactly what this game is. You are raising a Digimon. You are not the Digimon. You can't train a horse and then be shocked when it does all the running for you in the derby. And agency is still granted to you. As I say, you will be on item duty, which will be vital during the fights. And once you train your Mon to be a lot smarter, it will unlock more commands that you can yell, even down to asking for specific attacks that you want them to use, or asking that they keep their distance, or concentrate on defending. Now, I personally never had much use for these extra commands until a few instances right at the very end of the game. I made do with mostly just brute forcing my way through a lot of these fights, but the option for more strategy is there. The only time that agency is handed back to you during a fight is when you build up enough meter that you are able to use a finisher attack. Each Digimon has their own, some are better than others, but these are lifesavers in fights. Always try to use them whenever you can, but just be careful when activating it, as they can still be interrupted if an enemy Digimon was due to attack you first. With Agumon down and now recruited back to the city, we explore a little bit more and soon see that most Digimon here are just there to fight. Not everybody is going to be recruitable. Now this will be helpful for a little bit later on, but can still be a small negative for me. Firstly, some placements are just super unfair. Whether it be a super cramped space that they can catch you easily, or even a super tight camera angle that is mostly focused on you, leading to a lot of instances where you are simply just running blind into potential fights. There's also just instances where they can flat out just reach you and initiate a fight before the area is even a chance to load in properly. And if you are not prepared here, or if you're already weak from a strong fight with a recruitable Digimon, these fights can become very unfair. It can easily lead to losses or more wasted items. Every fight in this game needs to be prepared for and thought about carefully. So you've explored the forest, recruited a few more Digimon, nipped into the nearby caves where all the Drimoldrimons are busy drilling, and are out of places to visit right now. Where do we go and what do we do? Well, here's where another small problem can arise with this game. Digimon World will either give vague details on what you need to do, or just flat out not tell you. Take our first big unlock area here, the tropical jungle. So, the bridge to the jungle is out, and is only ever said to be worked on. But once we get a first couple of Digimon back to the city, a couple of new dialogue options from Euramon and Tsunamon will unlock. Here they'll now talk about how a mysterious shadow has appeared in the waters in the afternoons down by the beach. We head down there in the afternoon, and wouldn't you know it, down at Cola Point is a Colamon, who lets you hop on its head to first enter the jungle. Once here, the bridge is magically built, meaning that we now have easy access to and from this area from now on, and also making Colamon recruitable when you go back to revisit them. Okay, I do like this. He's making great use of NPCs, whilst also teaching the player early on that talking to the other Digimon is super important. It also teaches us that certain Digimon and events will only occur during certain times of the day, meaning that time management is also going to become an important thing to keep track of during our playtime. Again, all things that I do like. My complaint though comes from the fact that sometimes they simply just do not stick to this. Skipping ahead a little, we can gain access to Mount Panorama, and as you can imagine, there's plenty of new Digimon to recruit here. One of those is an injured Unimon. Want to know how to recruit him? Well, firstly, you have to randomly visit the clinic that will be opened once you recruit Centaurimon. Speaking to this Mon will make the injured Unimon appear in Mount Panorama, but as far as I could tell, nothing from your interaction with Centaurimon would ever lead you into then going looking for Unimon. Other than Uni being injured and Centaurimon working in a clinic, nothing really links these two Digimon together. It's not like Centaurimon was like, hey, I've heard of an injured Digimon in the mountains, if you find them, send them my way. Meaning that if you never visited the clinic during your playthrough, or did everything in Map Panorama first before visiting the clinic, you might just miss out on ever recruiting Unimon. And the game is just filled with secret parameters that you need to tick off before you are able to achieve your goals. Take that aforementioned drill tunnel. So, we can talk to a Drimoldrimon who says it'll take a couple of days to finish drilling through this tunnel. You can help speed that process along, or you can come back in a few days. Again, I like that little time management portion of the gameplay, but it isn't consistent, as we can find another Drimoldrimon who is working on a similar tunnel and similarly says that this could take a while. Well, what's a while? A couple of days? A week maybe? No, prosperity is the solution here. Prosperity is how well your city is doing. Recruiting Digimon adds to the overall prosperity of the city, and the tunnel is finished when you have reached 45 prosperity points, which now just leads into all sorts of guesswork. As far as I'm aware, this is never stated, nor do you ever get any updates on the tunnel. You just have to keep visiting. Keep in mind also that you only need 50 prosperity points to beat the entire game. So we are talking about an area that you discover right at the very beginning of the game that wants you to return to it throughout your entire playthrough to check if it's now open to you. This is why I will say, for anybody who is wanting to play this game, whether it be your first time or your 10th, use a guide. There's no shame in using one anyway, and this game can just be very, very obtuse. There is fun in trying to figure things out for yourself and exploring, don't get me wrong, but just keep a recruitment guide open for when you'll eventually need it. And trust me when I say that won't be the only guide you'll need, but we will get to that. Before that though, I want to quickly use another example on how the game can be quite obtuse. So let's head back to Drill Tunnel. Like I said, you can help one of the Digimon clear the way. So instead of waiting a couple of days, let's just speed things up. This can be a pretty tedious task, as you do need to make a lot of trips to clear up this heap, but it is worth it for the early stat increases and the money. Once we are through, we can find a Merimon who we can fight and recruit. And you remember that one move he did right before the fight? Yeah, well that move dislodged a bunch of boulders that were blocking the entrance to Mount Panorama, but the game makes no effort to tell you that. And with how zoomed in the camera is on you, it can be very easy to just simply run past this newly opened entrance without even knowing anything has changed. But okay, these examples can be very hit or miss, or vague at best. If you truly want zero help from the game, we only have to go back to training. So, those who are familiar with Digimon are aware that these little critters can digivolve to become stronger, rising the ranks from baby to in training, rookie, champion, and finally, ultimate level. And before I get any comments, I do know that there's Mega Digivolutions or DNA Digivolutions or Armor or any other countless versions of this, but again, this game came out way before the anime was even out, so they only made designs up to the ultimate level Digimon. Which does go into a theory that I have always had that Mega level Digimon was never a thing at first, hence why some Ultimate level Digimons have Mega in their name, like Mega Seadramon or Mega Carbuteriumon, but that's a tangent for another day. So, how do we Digivolve in this game? Well, each stage of Digimon has a certain amount of time to hit a certain requirement to then Digivolve. Baby to in training can take a few hours to digivolve, in training to rookie takes a day, and so on and so on. It starts easy enough as our first few ranks don't really have that much of a requirement to hit, but as soon as we hit the rookie level, we now have a lot of options to us. Take our starter here, Agumon. We have the option of digivolving him into 5 other Digimon: Greymon, Merimon, Centaurimon, Monochromon, and Tyrannomon. Each of these need a certain stat requirement hit to achieve. Some will need more of the HP focusing on, whilst others need defense or maybe speed or brains. So how do we figure this out? You don't. The game offers no information on what Digimon needs what. It is pure guesswork, which would be okay if it wasn't for 3 massive things. Number 1. Digivolving doesn't just involve stats. Yes, I lied to you. I'm sorry. You see, there's hidden requirements that go into digivolving, such as how many care mistakes have you made? This can involve forgetting to feed your Digimon, or making them poo on the floor like a savage. Certain Digimon will require you to make these mistakes, leading you to just flat out have to abuse the poor little guys. But that's not all. We also have weight as an important factor, which is a lot harder than you think, as sometimes when even keeping on top of feeding your mons, with all the running around, fighting and pooping, the weight can just drop right off them. We also have happiness and discipline, which are mainly just shown with these 2 little bars down here. I still don't fully understand some aspects of this. I had multiple Digimon where their happiness bar would just keep flashing yellow and blue, and the mon was just screaming at me, and I had no idea what to do with it. But to put it simply, keep your Digimon happy by not making care mistakes, and that happiness bar will fill. Discipline, however, is a little bit more rarer, but nonetheless just as important. Now, the only times I ever got to use this function was on the odd occasion that I tried to feed my Digimon an item. They refuse it, so I had to scold them for them to listen. This builds that meter up. But from my experience, this is the only way to build it up, that one particular scenario, leading to this feeling very undercooked, especially because praising always seems to lower their discipline bar, which is just wrong in my opinion. I mean, if my dog flat out told me it needed to take a poo and then went and squatted over my toilet to let one out, you're damn right I'm going to call him a good boy. Anyway, the last two requirements you need to keep track of to Digivolve might just be some of the oddest requirements in my opinion. The first being just how many fights your Digimon has been in. Certain stronger Digimon need you to get into a lot of fights, which on the one hand I do appreciate as it breaks up the monotony of stat training in the gym and it also brings in a lot of rewards, mainly money, but one more that ties into our last requirement needed for Digivolving. How many techniques your Digimon has learned. You see, each mon has a certain typing. Some are fire, some water, some machine, just like that other popular digital monster game with all the cards. Yu-Gi-Oh! That's the one. So depending on the Digimon that you have, you can learn even more of that type's moves by sometimes battling wild Digimon. If you have an ice type, head over to Friesland. If you have a machine type, go fight some robots in Factorial Town. Some moves will be harder to obtain than others, this is still RNG based, but learning more techniques become vital. I'd even go as far to say, learning a strong technique is more vital than stat training in this game. Now, this is never really taught to you, and a lot of the time, you may not even know which wild mons to fight to learn whatever new techniques that you want. This is why, again, I implore most players, new or old, to have a couple of guides open for this game. Find a tech guide, find a requirement guide, and my god, always have a Digivolution guide handy. Number 2, the poo problem. I'm sorry everyone, I lied to you again. Remember when I said that Agumon can digivolve into 5 other Digimons? Well, it's actually 6. You see, if you don't hit enough requirements to successfully digivolve, then this happens. Say hello everybody to Nubamon. This little guy and his equally useless counterpart Sukamon are your punishment for not training your Digimon very well. They get all their stats cut by 40%, have the worst moves in the entire game, and well, they also do this. This right here is probably my biggest issue with the game not helping you out with Digivolutions. How can you demand that the player guess what they need to prioritize whilst hiding all the requirements needed to then turn around and punish the player in such a way for when they inevitably get the training wrong? It is needlessly cruel to the player and completely unfair. And the worst part is just how much time you are now stuck with this punishment. You can't just simply kill them on and move on. For a start, you get items stolen when you do lose a fight, so losing 3 of them back to back to lose all your heart is going to leave your backpack very empty. Secondly, when a Digimon loses all hearts and dies, it doesn't pass on its stats nor its techniques. You pretty much start from scratch. So all that's left for you to do is just pass the time until your Digimon dies peacefully of old age. Alright, yeah, I should probably go into explaining that a bit more. Okay, you see your Digimons have an expiration date. No matter how strong it is, one day the Reaper comes for us all. Luckily, with these guys being digital, your Digimon can simply reincarnate into another egg that you can pick and then the cycle continues. Each egg is a different baby that can then go on to a couple of different in-training mons, which can then go on to a couple more rookies, which can then go on to a lot of different champions, as I covered with Agumon. So there is a lot of attempts to be made here if you want to go for a full roster. Number 3. Some Digimon are more important than others. Yes, the game does indeed play favourites. And we're also going to run into the same issues I brought up before here of the game just flat out not telling you things. works. So let's take two examples, the Manor and the Ice Sanctuary. If you try and enter this manor, you will comment on how a dark presence is stopping you from entering and will seemingly never be able to enter. That is, unless you have a virus type Digimon. Okay, yeah, I should quickly explain this too. So, a Digimon doesn't just have a type advantage, fire, ice, plant, that kind of thing, but they also have an attribute type. There's virus, vaccine, and data types. Now, needing a virus type here does make some semblance of sense. Virus type Digimons are usually the evil type of Digimon. This is a creepy and evil manor, so virus type used to enter spooky evil manor. I can sort of connect the dots here. But then there's Ice Sanctuary. Here you enter, inspect the statue, and then we'll find nothing else to do here. That is, unless you have a vaccine type Digimon, who now upon trying to leave will simply figure out that a statue has a secret switch opening the area up for further exploration. And I just have to ask, why though? Surely, if you wanted a puzzle like this, make the brain stat be the solution. Have your Digimon being smart as the reason it spots this secret switch, not some arbitrary typing. What does a vaccine type have to do with figuring out this switch puzzle? And some Digimon requirements become even more specific. Take Toy Town, a fairly late game area you can reach with not a lot to do at first. The only thing you can really do here is find a Monzaemon onesie, and your Digimon is pretty keen on wearing this cool new onesie, which I don't blame them. I'll take one of those in a heartbeat. But wouldn't you know it, they don't fit. If only they were slimy and green and with no bones in their body. Yeah, you need Numamon here, and only Numamon. For all the bad mouthing I did on him, he does have his one use, but I still have a massive problem with this. For a start, the game still heavily punishes you for raising a Numamon. It docks your stats 40% like I said, meaning that even when turning into a Monzaemon, you are severely weak for what you need to do here in Toy Town. Not only that, but the game also docks you a Tamer level for raising a Numamon. And Tamer levels can be hard to achieve. Essentially, you get a score, which I'll just call XP, for digivolving your Digimon up the ranks. And this XP adds up to a Tamer level. Each Tamer level earned means that upon reincarnating, your Digimon will retain some of its stats it had in its previous life, on top of the tech that it's learned, which can become vital for managing to reach those tougher stat requirements for ultimate level Digimon. So, once again, I take umbrage with the fact that we are being punished for obtaining a Numamon when the game literally requires one for a story purpose. And I know I've danced around the storyline all video, and I will get to it soon, but first, I just want to touch upon a couple of things that I couldn't find a natural segue for. Number 1, fishing. My god, what do I even say about this? Let's just watch some fishing. Yeah, so I don't think I need to delve any deeper other than this footage. It's just a bad minigame through and through. It's not well made, it's not fun, and Seedramon can go suck a lemon. Number 2. Monochromon endorses capitalism. So, not all requirements involve simply just finding the Digimon and beating the crap out of them. In fact, there's quite a lot of fun and different varieties, whether it be curling with Penguinmon, trading with Mojimon, or just saving areas and moving the story along. And then there's Monochromon. You can find this guy's shop fairly early into the game, and he tasks you with running the place for a shift. This minigame revolves around Digimon coming in, asking for an item, and you then having to shaft them on a price to rake in enough profits for Monochromon to join the city. The trouble comes from just how RNG this all is. You can only really make a profit on the portable toilet and the medicine. So if you find that every Digimon is suddenly asking for meat, something that can only really net you something like 10 profit even if you rip them off, then the minigame just becomes flat out impossible to win. Not to mention the types of Digimon that enter. Some are more prone to haggling than others, some will be offended if you do anything other than slash the price in half and then kiss them on the forehead when they leave. The minigame has so much stacked against the player that it can feel impossibly unfair to win. Not to mention that this shift is half a day, meaning that if you were keeping to a strict timetable of training and exploring, well, That's gone. Not to mention that whilst playing this minigame, our Digimon won't be able to express their needs. So you wouldn't have fed them properly today, nor took them to a bathroom. This doesn't create a care mistake, I don't think, but when weight, happiness, discipline, and training is so vital to Digivolution, you can't afford to lose half a day working for Asda Jr. over here. So let's actually tackle the story. As I said at the beginning, a vast majority of the story is already given to you by Digimon. Something has happened, the Digimon began changing, and it is now up to us to save them. Well, with the game being as open world as it is, it creates this obstacle with the story. It can't be linear. So instead, we can only really get pieces here and there, and it is up to you to then piece together what you do find. So let's start by doing that. We can find the ancient dino region fairly early on after reaching the tropical jungle. Here we potentially get our first clue as to what is happening in this world, when talking to Tyrannomon, who says that he is guarding the next area as a meteor has recently crashed there. Thinking this oddity might be connected to the changes in this world, we asked to go in, only to find that this was Meteormon that crash landed. It is a complete red herring. What isn't though are the couple of story moments we have in Toy Town and Factorial Town. Saving both of these areas results in the player learning that we aren't the first human to have ever visited the digital world. A long time ago, it was a fairly common thing, until humans did what humans do and started to mistreat the Digimon, leading to a war breaking out and humans being banished from the world. Although there are some hints that they may not have all been banished. I love the touch of Andromon explaining that time moves a lot slower for humans here, to which the player replies, well, that explains why I haven't needed to eat or sleep yet, which is a great blend of gameplay and narrative mixing so well. So all these little pieces take us right into our final dungeon, Mount Infinity, a digital labyrinth filled with tough and wild Digimon and even tougher recruitable ones, until you finally reach the end and find the culprit. Now, he strangely just goes by Analog Man, and whilst he doesn't spell everything out, what he does explain does easily fill in a lot of questions you may have. So, Analog Man purely sees these Digimons as bits of digital data. He sees the potential in using them, but nothing more. To him, they are only merely digital slaves. And this is encapsulated beautifully by his final Digimon, Machinedramon. A Digimon with all its humanity and animal-like traits removed from it. It isn't like Andromon or Metal Greymon, where machine parts are infused to it. It is simply all machine. The perfect Digimon for someone like Analog Man to use. And yes, before I get any comments, I know Machinedramon is a Mega-type Digimon. I kinda lied to you all again. But I also don't think it is treated like a Mega-level Digimon here. It is simply just treated as the final boss, the strongest Digimon that they could create. I also like the implication of Analog Man's meddling. Again, whilst not explicitly explained, his presence could be the very reason this city has experienced what it has experienced. He has spent his time here, banished, but nevertheless able to potentially hack this world. And his hacking and his meddling is what the Digimon have been feeling, and what has led to some being controlled and others losing their memories and scattering. I really do love this explanation. Anyway, we have our final showdown with Machinedramon, but once we beat it, Analog Man dips through a portal and declares that he has rigged this entire island to blow. Before he can gloat too much though, all our recruited friends say that they can help and hack the hacker, sending the explosives to him and this happening. Yeah, so in a kids game with Digimon in it, we just blew the hell out of our main bad guy. But let's not dwell on that too much. It is time for us to say goodbye to our partner, all the friends we have made, and return to our world. That is until we get a call saying somehow Analog Man has returned. So we pop back to the digital world to sort that out. So I don't want to bury the lead too much there. This is just simply an excuse the game makes to get the player back to the world so they can finish recruiting everyone. Yes, an area does open up where you can find the remnants of Analog Man, maybe just simply his data, but this is just used as a way to refight Machinedramon. It doesn't have anything to resolve or has no further narrative reasons. So that does bring me to the end of Digimon World. And I hope by now that you can see why I do find it difficult to recommend this to people. The game can be very unforgiving and time consuming and unfair, but I really do feel like the pros outweigh the cons here. I just love this game. I feel like if you're able to roll with the punches, you will too. There's just so much to appreciate. I love even something simple like seeing the city develop with each new recruit. Those changes start small, with a shortcut opening here, a bank opening there, maybe bigger meat being grown on the meat farm. But soon things like a small shop and a picnic blanket turns into a full-on brick and mortar shop, with vendors inside and multiple floors and multiple salesmen. Electricity is brought to the city, clinics and restaurants are built, and it's just so rewarding and nice to see it all develop. This also bleeds into the recruitment itself, as the more you manage to recruit, the more the rest of the wild starts to hear about you. You go from Digimon being wary of you, as you are a stranger to them, to then some Digimon even seeking you out. I just love small little touches like this, and I love this game. It truly is just a special, one-of-a-kind game, flaws and all. So thank you all so much for watching, and for making it this far. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, it truly does help with the channel, and let's keep the Digimon talk going below. I loved all the conversations I had on my last Digimon video, and I could just talk about this franchise forever. Until next time though, take care.